Time to wake up here, guys. I think I'm gonna start off by opening up this free box. Ooh! I got Penny! Got Penny on my Kairos Live account. That's funny. Wait. My ad box. Not available? No more boosting reward progression by 50% on all of my Brawl boxes by watching advertisements? No! Why? Hello fellow brawlers, I'm KairosTime, and it is time to brawl. Guys, Supercell just announced that they are going to be getting rid of the reward doublers via advertisements. They're removing it from the game. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the frequently asked questions, and then I'm also going to talk about my own opinion on top of that. Okay guys, so first question, when is this going to happen? Well, in the post they said very soon, but it may actually have already happened by the time you watch this video. If not, then it will be happening soon, I guess. So then the next question is, are they going to be getting rid of the free advertisement box that you get to do once a day? And yes, they are going to be getting rid of that. Another question people are asking is, are they going to be increasing the rewards from the boxes right now? And at this time, they have not said anything about having plans to do that. So then the next question is, why? Why is this happening? And here's what they said. The ads added some complications to the progression pacing and game economy. So what does that mean? Progression pacing and game economy. Well, here's kind of how I interpret this, okay? My guess is that Supercell thinks that the majority of players were either progressing faster than desired or cheaper than desired. Now, before you get too upset about this part, make sure you hear my thoughts later on in this video. While it does suck for most players, I do think this is incredibly important for the game design portion of Brawl Stars. Not so much the cheaper part, but the actual faster progression part. And that's actually something that Supercell considers very heavily and is a very big reason why Supercell games are such a huge success. Now, people are kind of responding to this in one of three different ways, okay? Either they're excited because they thought that the ads actually lowered the quality of the game. There were actually a lot of people that didn't want ads being added into the game in the first place because of this. Second, I think there are probably people that are neutral because they didn't ever watch the advertisements and they really couldn't care less. And then there are people that are really bummed out because they really like that faster progression. I'm the third kind of guy, guys. Yeah. Every day, guys, I would log into all 4 of my Brawl Stars accounts and I would open up the free box and I would open up the free advertisement box and watch the ads on both of those to try and increase that progression. Even on my maxed account, guys, like seriously. So I am kind of bummed. This is a huge nerf to the free-to-play progression system within the game, especially that free ad box. As soon as they added ads into the game, I thought that this was really an exciting thing for the game because, well, they're not intrusive and faster progression kind of seems like a positive thing in my book, okay? Now, in response to Supercell doing this and saying that they're doing this because the ads added some complication to the progression pacing and game economy, I think a lot of people are just gonna say that's BS. Get it? BS, Brawl Stars. However, while I do dislike this change as an individual player, I do think that it is a very smart decision from a game development perspective, especially a Supercell game. Now, if you go to supercell.com and you read the Our Story section, you'll see that Supercell is founded on 3 core beliefs, okay? The first is that the best teams make the best games. As a side note, guys, I got to meet a few of the teams when I went to Supercell in Finland, and every individual really seems to be hand selected for the team, and it really does bring incredible quality to the table. I seriously could not speak higher about the Brawl Stars team who I got to converse with the most. Simply put, guys, they really are amazing people. Not just great game developers, but like really great people. The second core belief that Supercell bases their games off of, or their company off of, is having small and independent cells. That's why they call it Supercell. If you really wanted me to, I could talk about this in another video and why Supercell chooses small teams versus large teams, but I think I'm just going to avoid that topic for right now. Now, the third core principle that Supercell is based off of is making games that people will play for years. This is the key reason why Supercell has killed so many games in the past. And if there is any reason why Supercell would kill Brawl Stars, it would be because they didn't think that people would play Brawl Stars for years. Now, I don't know if Supercell was actually making very much money off of advertisements in Brawl Stars, but I really can't imagine that they didn't at least make some money. I mean, I watched so many advertisements and I'm just one person, before it counts. But I am just one person. Now, what I do know is that Supercell prioritizes these 3 core principles way more than money. Now, I know that that statement is actually incredibly hard to believe for some people, especially if you were like me, guys. But seriously, making high-quality games that people will play for years is way more important than making money to Supercell. Now, I'm not a Supercell employee, and they have no control over what I can say on my videos at all. And so when I say this is seriously my absolute perspective as somebody that went to Finland, met a ton of Supercell employees, including community managers from every Supercell game in the company. Now, before I went to Finland, my thought was that, hey, Supercell's a company, they have to focus primarily on money first, and then they focus on like actually making quality games next. Like they're a company, that's what they have to do. That makes sense, and that just kind of how the world works. I mean, that's any game developer, right? They need to make money in order for them to survive and continue making great games for us. I don't view that as a negative thing. I think that that is just the way that the world works. And if this is the way that Supercell actually functioned, I would not judge them one bit for it. But it's interesting because while this is how the majority of the world works, there are so many things that are like totally backwards for Supercell. And creating high quality games that people will play for years is Supercell's primary desire. And their view is that, hey, if we can do that, then we can figure out how to monetize it later and we'll make money off of it. But the focus is making an awesome game. Seriously, guys, I tried to spark up so many conversations with people about like money and things like that. Like Supercell, you know, like they gotta be at least a little bit like greedy, right? And nobody would talk about it. It was like, it wasn't like they were like avoiding it or they were awkward about it. It was just like it just wasn't a concern for them. Nobody was concerned about how much money any game was making or anything like that. It was just how awesome is the player experience and what can we do to make the game better for the players. And I'm sure that there in the back side of things that there were some people thinking, okay, we do have to make some money. Like it costs a lot of money to not only develop these games, we have to make money, we have to feed our own kids, we have to pay for servers, we have to pay for all sorts of different things like that. I'm sure that there is some aspect of that in Supercell, but from my perspective and what I saw, they are so focused on just making a great game that I mean, it blew me away. It was totally backwards from what I expected, but it was really refreshing, actually. It was kind of nice. So then the question is, how did ads affect the quality of the game? Because that's one of the two concerns, making a quality game and also making a game that people play for a long time. And some will disagree with me, but I think that ads didn't really take away from the quality of the game at all. Like they were not intrusive, and you just chose to do it if you wanted to. But then the question is, how do ads actually affect people's desire to play the game for years? From my perspective, this is where ads actually have a profound negative impact on Brawl Stars. Now, for a while now, I've actually been working on calculating exactly how long it takes for a free-to-play player to progress to a max account, assuming that they are actually like doing all the progressions they possibly can every single day. I don't have the calculations perfectly figured out yet, but I do have some estimates, and while I'm not going to share those estimates on this video, of course, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for that in a future video, I will say this though. Assuming a player does everything that they can to progress every single day to speed up progression, with advertisements in the game and the current progression system, a free-to-play player can max out their Brawl Stars account in under 1 year. So under 1 year, and let's put that onto the side for a second and talk about why people continue playing a game for years. A lot of the time, the biggest reason why people keep playing a game for a long time is because they want to play all of the content that is available to them, even if it means playing for a long time to get to that end game content. In any game, once a player maxes out their account and they get to experience everything within the game, many people stop playing. Now, once people do get to that point in the game, there are typically two major reasons why people will actually continue playing even after they've experienced all of the content. The first reason why they'll stick around is because of community, okay? And I think that the best experience for myself is when I played Clash of Clans. I played it for years, just like Supercell wanted me to, and I actually continued playing Clash of Clans for a solid year after I was like bored with the actual gameplay because of this community aspect, because of the clans. Even though I didn't really enjoy the gameplay a ton very much because it was just kind of like the same thing over and over again, I was having a blast feeling like I was a part of a community, part of a clan that kind of worked together and stuff like that. That made the game fun for me, even though I had already gone through all of the content and was essentially kind of just repeating it over and over again. It actually wasn't until a bunch of my Clash of Clans clanmates started playing Clash Royale that actually switched to another game because I kind of brought them along with me onto a different game. Now, the second big reason why people actually continue playing a game once they've experienced all of the content is because of a sense of investment, okay? A sense of investing your time into the game and having felt like you want to make that investment worth your while. You want to get enjoyment out of the game beyond what you've invested into it. Now, this is true not only for the time that you spent into the game, but also for the amount of money that you put into a game, okay? If you spent money on a game, you are more likely to continue playing it because you want to try and get your money's worth. You want to experience the game to the point where you feel like, yeah, that was a solid... How much have I spent on this game? Like, I spent a lot. That was a solid several dollars that I spent on that game. Now, Supercell wants Brawl Stars to be a game that people will play for years, okay? Plural. More than 1 year. And if any free-to-play player can actually max out their account under 1 year so that they get to actually experience all of the content in under 1 year, that's actually a really huge problem. First of all, that's not really very much time actually spent invested into the game. At least for me, like, I like to play games that I will play for a really long time, right? That keep me excited for a long time. I love that sense of community and I love that sense of investment. And if you're like me, having maxed out your account in under that period of time, under a year, that's actually a relatively short period of time. And because you feel like you haven't spent a whole lot of time into that, there's also less opportunity for you to actually feel like you are a part of a community. I mean, especially online, it takes a lot longer for people to actually build those friendships and those relationships with other people when you aren't interacting with them personally. And people are online or offline, like bouncing back and forth and things like that. It takes a while for those relationships to form. So advertisements actually have a profound negative impact on your time spent to invest it and also your ability to actually begin to formulate that sense of community. And that will result in a game that people will not play for years. And if Supercell thinks that Brawl Stars will be a game that people will not play for years, I think that they have one of two choices, guys. Either they have to kill ads or kill the game. And everything that I've talked about up until this point has nothing to do with whether or not Supercell is making money from advertisements. They may be making a lot of money off of advertisements, or they may be making very little money off of advertisements. Either way, it does actually create a situation where people are less likely to play the game for a long period of time. So in the short run, I think that this actually really sucks for the majority of players, but in the long run, this is a positive thing for the majority of players, okay? We want players to play the game for a long period of time, and because that's going to help produce a really big, booming community. It's going to make people excited about the game. There's going to be more strategy guides and things like that, more situations where people can actually feel like they are a sense of community and that game is actually being a benefit to them other than just like being entertainment. Anyways, guys, I've shared my opinions and I've also shared what I think Supercell, the reason why Supercell did this. I would really like to know what you think about this after watching the rest of the video. So if you have gotten to this point in the video, make sure you put your comments in the section below with the hashtag banana pudding because it's so delicious. And also because then I'll know that you actually watched the whole video. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this. I hope that you enjoyed it. For now, this is KairosTime ticking by, and we will see you in Brawl Stars.